Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello, my name is Patience Frisby, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank Reader's Magnet for giving me this opportunity. Next, my book is called How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices, and I am the author of this book. I'm a mother of four, and let me just tell you a little bit of how I wrote this book. At the age of 50, I finally got into law school. That was my dream. And while in law school, another student plagiarized my work. I actually failed that class. And being in law school, it's really difficult. And so failing anything puts you at a disadvantages. So when I failed, I kind of lost my confidence. And because of that, as time progressed, I basically failed or was academically dismissed. I became very discouraged, very depressed. And so I became angry at God, angry at myself. And so because I felt like I lost my dream. When this happened, I thought I hit rock bottom. Then I started writing. I began to write because I felt like I needed to take a look at my decisions, take a look at, first of all, how I got to the place I'm at and what I needed to do to fix it. When I started looking at everything, I realized it wasn't God I was mad at. It was more myself than anything else. And then I started looking at the decisions and seeing how I could have made better decisions throughout this process. And because of that, I started writing. And before I knew it, I had written 7 chapters of this book. And so in this book, How Did I Get Here? I talk about myself for first and foremost. But then I talk about Bible stories and different topics like forgiveness and identity crisis and different things like that, because I share my story about how I fit into those particular topics, and then I share the Bible story related to it. In writing the book, I wanted I wanted to share that if you're making good decisions, keep making them. and your decisions will lead you to a better place. But if you're not making good decisions, now is the best time to stop, take a look at where you are, and start making better decisions, so it leads you to better outcomes. It will lead you to your destiny, and most and foremost, it will lead you to a better life, a better self. That's kind of my story in a nutshell. And again, the book, How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices. I'm really a little nervous. I don't know if you can tell. I'm very excited about the book because this is the first time. And since writing this book, I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, "Oh, how did you get here? How did you write the book? How did you complete the process?" Because they want to also create and complete something. But I can tell you that my mindset had to change, my overall outlook had to change, and how I was doing things had to change, because the one thing I wanted to do was complete something I can be proud of. So I am very happy and very excited to share the power of How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices. Now, I'm going to read one or two excerpts from the book. I hope it's okay. And one of the things I want to read is from the foreword, and it says, "Fasten your seatbelt. Your entire life is about to change." I know that seems like a gross overstatement, but if you are the action taker that I believe you are, I am super excited about your future, and you should be too. In this book, you will finally get the answers to your most pressing questions. How did I get here? And you will also find the strength to move forward. You are about to take a journey that will put everything you have experienced in your life in its proper perspective. You will look at your past with fresh eyes, your future with unbridled optimism. You're about to be uncomfortable in a good way. Just like the author, just like I was the first day, me and the person who wrote um, this forward did. And then I'm going to share just a little from my journey. Okay. Sorry, I dropped the bookmark. Okay. So here is kind of a realization. I began looking at my choices and how they affected my relationship with God and my children. I didn't have to give my classmate a copy of my assignment, and I could have told him what to do. I took what I thought was the easy way out. I could have worked on my writing before it was too late, but I didn't. I worked on it after failing the class. I should have had more confidence in myself because I knew what it took to get into law school, but my mindset still told me I didn't belong there. These were my choices, which I had control of, and I did nothing to help myself or set myself up for success. The anger I had with God should have been with myself. From the time I was released from school, and either way, my anger should have turned into an action to set myself up for success instead of bitterness. I thank Jessica. I thank God Jessica is still walking with God, and her relationship with is even stronger than ever. And I thank God that she helped me to see how negative I had become. The power of my choices led me down a dark road. I didn't see the negativity until many of my choices led me to bitterness and anger. But how we look at ourselves and what we think of ourselves is equally important in making decisions. Someone could have the desire to be a famous singer, but if he or she doesn't believe in the possibility to command the stage and wow the audience, that dream will never become a reality. It will only remain a dream. If a person has low self-esteem and does not believe in him or herself, any encouragement will not be believed, nor will they believe God loves them and has made them in his image. Therefore, the choices they make will be based on that negative feeling or low self-esteem. In this book, I will discuss biblical characters and the choices they made. Much can be learned from their victories as well as their mistakes. I will also explain why I picked the different Bible stories and what I have learned from them. So, again, I'm just reading an excerpt from the book, and I'm going to read one more because I think it's very important. And this one is from chapter 4. And this is concerning Moses. The God confidence I mentioned in the story earlier was not something I realized I had until it came out. Joshua had God confidence when he led the children of Israel into the promised land. It is not something you second guess. You just push forward. So what if the result does not look like what we thought it should? Is that a reason to question God? Should you allow your fear to set in so much that after talking to God, you doubt and question him and end up never getting to see your promised land? Can you imagine wanting something so much that you wait on God for the promise, get to the promise, and don't believe it's for you? I can't imagine going through all that or allowing a choice of doubt to turn me away. Truly, truly hope deferred makes the heart sad. That's in Proverbs 13 and 12. But to finally see what you have been hoping for and willingly lose it seems like the worst position to put yourself in, because the rest of your days, your thought will be, it could have been mine if only I had trusted God. It cost a promise of God to be seen but not enjoyed by Moses, and ultimately leading only the people younger than 20 to step into the promised land. And now I'm going to read one more verse out of the Bible. One more verse out of the book, because, excuse me, I'm trying to get there. So it's in chapter 8, and this is talking about Joseph. And the reason I talk about Joseph is because God was with Joseph, even though the story takes different turns. So, in this story, in going through my story, I did not always feel like it, but there was always hope. I may not have seen or looked in the right places, but even for me, the Lord was there. Would you go through many harrowing things at a young age, potentially not seeing your family for many years, knowing the outcome of it would be that one day you would be the second in charge of a nation? I'm not sure I would immediately sign up for that, but Joseph did not sign up for it either. It just happened. I love reading the story of Joseph and the multicolored coat. More specifically, I love the story of how he went from prison to being second in command over Egypt. But there's so much more to Joseph's stories. When he had the dream where his brothers bowed to him and he decided to tell them about the dream, it was their anger toward him that led them to want to have him killed. His brothers were already jealous because every day they would have to tend to the sheep while Joseph was home. These were Joseph's half brothers. Around that, everyone around him loved Joseph more than his brothers. Jacob made Joseph a coat of many colors, which was evident by the distinctions between this coat and the coats of his brothers. I've read some excerpts from my book, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Again, my book is How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices. Yes, Daddy.
You seen your mother?
I don't know where she is.
Huh?
I don't know where she is. So,
What?
no, I'm talking to an audience.
You were talking to?
An audience. So anyway, yeah. So again, I'm going to share one more story with you.
I don't want to hear your story. What I want to do is I want to get a pee cup. One of those urinals.
Yes, I don't know where mommy is.
Huh?
I don't know where mommy is. I'm sorry. I will reach out to her as soon as possible.
Have you got a key to the car?
No. Okay.
You know Matt Dillon when you see him.
Yes. Okay.
All right. That's what I care most about.
Okay.
Your mom and Matt Dillon.
Okay.
I'm okay.
All right. I'm glad to hear that. So I'm going to talk about Gideon a little bit, and I'm going to read a story or an excerpt from this. So Gideon, and the chapter I'm talking about is called Identity Crisis. And Gideon had an identity crisis. When the angel of the Lord came and talked to him, he said he was the least among his clan and the least among his clan and the weakest. In the book of Gideon, the Midianites try to basically starve the Israelites to the point where their people die of starvation. And anytime any crops grow, the Midianites come and destroy them. So Gideon, when we find him, he is pressing wheat for food in a wine press. And he's doing that so they have something to eat. Because of how far he's been kind of beaten down, he doesn't realize who he is. He doesn't realize his story. He's heard of the past children of Israel, past stories of what God has done for them. But at this stage, he has never seen it or received it publicly, or received it and seen it for himself. He only knows of stories. He only knows of what he's heard. And isn't it amazing? Because sometimes that's all we know. That's all we've ever heard. And so I'm going to read an excerpt of it because all right. Gideon was clothed with power from the Lord. He sent messages throughout Manasseh, Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, calling for their warriors, to which they all responded. And Gideon asked for more signs from God. As Gideon was approaching the Midian army, the Lord said he had too many warriors with him, and told Gideon to leave. To tell the people that whoever is timid or afraid may leave the mountain and go home. 20,000 went home and 10,000 remained to fight. The Lord said again it was too many, and he he had Gideon bring the warriors to the water and divide them into two groups, the ones who drank from cupped hands and those who drank straight from the water. Only 300 men drank from their hands, and the Lord told Gideon that those 300 would give victory from the Midianites. He told Gideon to send the others home. Can you imagine only going into battle with 300 men, 300 people? That's what Gideon did, and he trusted God. And see, what I'm trying to do is encourage people with my story, encourage those reading it to change their life, and encourage those who want to change and be on a different path to change. Finally, I'm going to read a couple of passages from the conclusion of my book. In so many of these stories, the choice needed to be made, whether good or bad, which becomes life or death, or it at least appears to be. As believers, we are killed all the day long by other people's tongues against us or by our own tongue. But our merciful God does not let that happen. But when we put ourselves in a position where death is truly laid in the balance, our prayer is that God will protect us. Put another way, walking toward death is no different than disobeying God's word, because the wages of sin is death. It also answers the question, have you sold out to God? We may say a lot of things in our efforts to make ourselves seem like great Christians. There is a time where God says, show me, and we must do that. There's so many more stories in the Bible that I could have illustrated, but I wanted to give some examples of who made choices and how their choices affected them. One character in the Bible I didn't talk about was Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He had many choices, and every choice he made lined up with what he came to do on earth. At age 12, when he went to the temple and his parents were looking for him for days, Jesus asked them, the parents, didn't you know I would be doing the Lord's work? That's coming from Luke 2:49. When he was baptized, the Lord said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And when he performed his first miracle of turning water into wine, it was the start of his public ministry, but it was still doing the things his Father taught him to do. Jesus never forgot that he was here to do what his Father sent him to do. The words spoken and his actions were what his Father wanted. He was in his public ministry. Let us never forget who we are in Christ Jesus. We need to make intentional choices out of wisdom in order to get to our destinies. For some, time is simply a measure of a day. For those in the kingdom, it's about how long we have to work for Christ before night comes and we can no longer work. Again, my book is called How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices. Now, I have a couple of social media contacts I want to tell you about. One, my website, patiencewords.com. My Facebook page is www.facebook.com/Patience Frisby. And my Instagram is instagram.com/PFrisby1. Again, I'm so excited to have you talk about the book and to talk about the book with you and to introduce you to the book. I really am excited about this, and I do thank Reader's Magnet for everything they've done, everything I've been able to do up to this point, and I'm so excited to share my book with you, and I hope to have you. I hope you ask me any questions you want. Take a look at my website. Take a look at my Instagram page, and get my book. It can be found at both Amazon and, I'm sorry, I forgot, Instagram and on Barnes and Noble. So again, my name is Patience Frisby. I'm the author of the book, How Did I Get Here? How Did I Get Here? The Power of Choices. And my book is something I hope will encourage. I hope will give people hope. I hope will teach people to look at their different choices, look at their mindset, and to be able to work and to change how they make decisions and making better decisions for themselves. And again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for listening to me this half hour. And again, how did I get here? The power of choices. Now, if anybody has any questions or anybody wants any additional information concerning the book, concerning the author, I would love to answer your questions. Now, the other thing is kind of a brief follow-up. In the book, I mentioned that I was in law school and was academically dismissed. I have not gone back to law school, but I am working on my next book, and I will be very happy to share that in the near future. I'm so excited to write. It does truly help me work through some things I need to work through, as well as I hope it helps the readers and helps them see things from a different perspective, from a different point of view, and also to learn. I truly am grateful for this time. I'm truly grateful to Reader's Magnet. Again, the different platforms. My website is patiencewords.com. Facebook is www.facebook.com/patience_frisby. And Instagram is www.instagram.com/pfrisby1. Thank you so much for your time. Now, just to let you know, in losing dreams and losing different things, people have different reactions. But the one thing we can never do or should never do is completely lose hope, because there's always hope. And this book will show you, lead you, and tell you how. And it will also help you to look at everything. And thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.